Us humans love waging war and killing each other. It's kind of what we do. But what happens when we bring the smoke down to our furry friends? Well, the results might shock you, but we usually get absolutely shit kicked. And it's actually quite sad how bad the level of shit kicking can really get. Now, I think we usually lose because of underestimation and just some good plain old downright stupidity. I'm looking at you, sparrows and emus. Number 3. The glorious war of the pests. Pests. We all hate them, so can we really blame Mao for making a comprehensive list telling the public to exterminate them, which indirectly killed around 30 million Chinese people? Yeah? Okay. So there's pretty much only two ways you can look at the glorious war of the pest. It's either the single most successful public health campaigns in all of history, or well, yeah. So this great battle between Chinese peasants and pesky pests starts during China's Great Leap Forward. The boys were absolutely riled up and it was time for a change between 1958 and 1962. China was moving from an agricultural economy to a sophisticated communist one, headed by yours truly, Mao. But first, they needed to deal with those pesky pests. The other ones. The 4 pests included mosquitoes, responsible for malaria. Fair enough. Rodents, they spread the plague. Flies, because they're just fucking annoying. And most importantly, Eurasian tree sparrows, because they eat a lot of grain, seed, and fruit. Now, when hearing this the first time and not putting any sort of coherent thought into it, you might be saying, yeah, fuck these pests. Yeah, I'm sure sparrows are cute, but mosquitoes? I'm all for mosquito eradication. Well, to make matters even worse for that argument, they weren't even the primary objective. No, the real war was fought against the sparrows and the other 3 were just mere side quests. Basically, while you're on your way to annihilating some sparrows, if you happen to stop by some rodents, mosquitoes, or flies, well, you'll be gaining some bonus points. So like every war, both sides had strategies, but sadly for the Chinese, the sparrows were a 98 strategist. Now the Chinese decided to implement a strategy of exhaustion, where they would bang pots and pans day and night without end until the sparrows literally just fell out of the sky from exhaustion. It is said the Russians couldn't sleep with all the noise, but the key principle was that the sparrows needed to be dead, in the air or the ground, so you can only imagine all the crossfire caused by flying pots. Now remember how I said tactics on both sides? Yeah, don't think for a second that the sparrows would let this senseless slaughter of its people go unchecked. They adopted a form of all-out warfare complemented by some very cunning 99 diplomacy. It kind of went something like this. Banging pots and pans day and night. This man's been banging a pot all
This girl broke her pot 2 days ago and she bought a new one.
We're gonna drop volleys of 99 shit bombs on them, then fly straight back to our Polish allies' embassy because our great Polish allies aren't allowing them in the premises. Sir, are we under siege right now? Huh? What? Well, the enemy has been surrounding our fort, banging drums for a good 2 weeks now, sir. I think we're being under siege. Well, if that's the case then, Private, we're the first birds to be besieged in all of history. Men, hold your beaks up high. We are the change. The sparrows fought back valiantly, but alas, the sheer numbers and tactics of the Chinese proved to be too much for the airborne shitbomb raid enthusiasts. The glorious war of the pest ended in an outstanding Chinese victory. Or did it? Like almost everything the Chinese do, they excelled. But that was the exact problem. They did too well. Sure, they created some nice music and completed their objective, exterminating around 1.5 billion rats, 1 billion sparrows, 24 million pounds of mosquito, and 220 million pounds of fly. That's almost the same amount of collective weight if we put every human being on a scale who resides in Kosovo. Anyways, be careful what you wish for, because by exterminating pretty much all the sparrows in China, you killed the very thing that was stopping the locust population from exponentially growing and decimating every single crop they came across. Pair that with some already existing problems and just like that, 30 million people died. The entire market cap of Bitcoin divided by 3,200. And inhuman. Making this one of the most destructive wars in all of history. Not a Statman fact. As sad as this story is, I'm quite glad to tell you that there actually might be a happy ending hiding somewhere. Because after the war, the Chinese finally realized how much they truly love the sparrows and imported 250,000 of them from a sleep-deprived Russia. 99 importance. I think it's safe to say the sparrows got the last laugh. Number 2. The British Pet Massacre. Now, this one's less of a war and more of a war crime by the British. Funny enough, the nation that proclaims itself a nation of pet lovers committed one of the most sophisticated pet and animal massacres in all of history. 99 irony. So during the little known conflict known as World War II, bombs were constantly being dropped, and I'm not talking rap battles between Adolf and Churchill. I'm talking full-blown air raids, bunkers, and food rations. And in preparation for all of this, the British government succumbed to the worst monster of all. Fear. They knew that in the very likely event that they would need to ration out food, pet owners would split their rations with their pets, or even worse, have to let them starve. So to combat this, in 1939 they formed the National Air Raid Precautions Animals Committee to formally decide what to do with the citizens' furry companions before the war broke out. And they thought of a great solution. Pamphlets! Ladies and gentlemen, if you can, take your furry friends out of the big city for the countryside, and if you can't, here's a captive pistol. You'd be doing them a great kindness. A what? A captive bolt pistol gun. Huh? A captive bolt pistol gun. It will be painless. You're kidding me.
I think we're done
Not
here.
you too. This is wartime, Sheldon. Sacrifices need to be made. The least you could do is kill your goddamn pet. Well, Buster, how about a trip to the vet?
How about no?
And just like that, the British brought the war across the channel before any German bomb could make it out the factory. 99 Fear. Animal charities and vets were strongly against the government's advice and urged pet owners to not let their furry companions be euthanized by fear unless it were absolutely necessary. Thankfully, they ended up saving a good amount of pets, but it was too late. The gigantic ball of hysteria already started rolling, and in just the span of a week, 750,000 pets were killed. An absolute tragedy to say the least. I mean, worst comes to worst, why not send Buster to reinforce the Maginot Line? Give him a helmet, a pistol, and maybe some amphetamines and you're laughing. Now, with a modern lens, it's hard not to look at the British like complete savages. I mean, we just went through a pandemic. Pets are essential in maintaining 99 morale when they're not shitting on the carpet. Yeah, change that to 77. But you have to understand that the collective consciousness was swayed by wartime. Sacrifices needed to be made. After all, the pamphlets did say they're doing them a kindness. No, they're still savages. Now, the extra bit of irony in all of this is that Hitler, being an avid animal enthusiast, or at least dog enthusiast, probably saw all of this euthanization as reinforcement that he was actually the good guy. On second thought, never mind. He probably didn't care because it wasn't German shepherds, just British bulldogs. Wait, was this his true plan all along? 99 played. Number 1. The Great Emu War. So basically, in 1932, Australia lost a war to a bunch of flightless birds. And to make matters even worse for the Aussies, they literally waged war against their national bird, the emu. That's like France going to war with the Gaelic rooster, or the Americans dropping tactical nukes on the bald eagle. But you do have to give it to the Aussies. It was quite brave of them to war against such a formidable foe. Don't let the whole flightless bird part get to you. These emus were absolute 99 physical beasts that could tower over the average Australian man. And when they felt like it, could run faster than any Australian in existence at a whooping 31 miles per hour. And let's not forget the most overpowered part of the emu, their legs. Those bad boys could, let's say, bend humble Australian farmers' fences and invite the boys to decimate some crops. And that's exactly what those legs did. This made the farmers quite mad. And by quite mad, I mean absolutely enraged. And a good amount of these farmers were not just your normal Western Australian ass-scratching farmers. No, these were World War I discharged veterans who were granted pretty shitty land by the government. God, this land sure does suck. Yep. Like I can't even grow anything, and now with the Great Depression, my crops are worth even less. Yep. And this stupid government keeps promising to help, but they do nothing. Yep. You know, it really can't get any worse, huh? Nope. Hey mate, it's breeding season and I came back for seconds. Heard you had a fence though. What's up with that? You gotta admit, he's pretty fucking cool. Shut up. The emus arrived 20,000 strong just in time for breeding season. And goddamn did the farmers' crops taste good. Now realistically, these World War I veteran farmers only had about 2 options at this point. Kill the emus, or themselves. And let me tell ya, in 1932 the emu wasn't yet the national bird. War was declared. The well-respected Australian Army was quickly mobilized on October 1932 to deal with this formidable threat with a staggering 2-man army. Sorry, make that 3 including the commander Major G.P.W. Meredith. They were accompanied by 2 Lewis guns and 10,000 rounds of ammunition. With those type of numbers, they would need to kill 2 emus per bullet. Your first mistake. Never underestimate your enemy, especially when they're built different. You never know what they're hiding. So the first battle was a complete strategic victory by the emus. 90 strategy. The Australians tried to shoot, and the emus honorably evasively ran. Shit, shoot! So evasively in fact that it proved to be tough to confirm kills due to the emus just running non-stop even when fatally wounded. Stop, they're gone. For you. Hey sir, they left us a message. Fuck you. Huh, I wonder what it means. Clever buggers. I don't think for a second that the emu army just randomly ran. Usually the most physically built of the emus, the leader would keep his head up looking around for possible threats or surprise attacks, while his soldiers would have their heads buried in the ground feasting. Tactics such as this become quite common during the Great Emu War. Like I said, formidable foe, always defending and throwing the enemy off each and every chance they could get. More battles ensued, but nothing truly decisive. At one point, the Australian soldiers, inspired by God knows what, the Tupac's assassination, said fuck it, time for a drive-by, and tried mounting their machine guns on vehicles to match the speed of the emus. But they learned the hard way. It was impossible to aim at such a speed. You can never truly out-emu the emu. Nice shooting, boys. How many did we get? I don't know, like 4? 4? Woohoo! That's 4 more than last time. You gotta be kidding me. What's your problem? It's not like we lost anything. Loss. You want to talk about loss? My wife learned what we're doing here, man. She left and took the kids. Well, that makes 2 of us. Huddle up, boys. We're in this together. 99 emu. I like to think at this point that the emu started underestimating the Australians. These guys really suck. Because the Australians withdrew in total humiliation, with about only 200 confirmed kills, leaving around 19,000 emus free to roam the lands as they pleased. The victorious emus celebrated by dragging their gigantic 99 ball sacks across all the Australian farmland they pleased. Because as far as the emus knew, this war was said and done, and it was time to reap the benefits and enjoy the spoils. But it was not done. The boys were not going to let some dumb little birds get in the way of their everlasting glory. So they came back 5 days later, humbled by the emus and with a plan. And that plan was to gun them down. By December 2nd, they were killing 100 emus per week at about 1 emu killed per 10 rounds fired. Abysmal numbers. Commander Meredith probably left the war feeling like $1,000,000. He was the first man to fight a war against birds. Did Napoleon ever do that? Yeah, I don't think so. Anyways, long story short, even after the second emu war, the emus were still just chilling around, so the Australians tried a new tactic. A bounty system, which ended up being pretty effective at doing nothing much. The emus still carelessly roamed their lands, and the farmers called for another war 25 years later. No army ever came. Seems like animals win for now. For now. Come on, man. At least give us a head start. Yeah, sure, why not? 3, 2, 1. Ready or not, here I... We can talk about...